If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
I probably would still vote for Donald Trump. Yeah.
Okay. And why is that?
I am a capitalist, and I believe in business and American ideals, and I feel overall, while I don't, do politics or study current events or debate for a living, I feel that generally speaking, the overall policy is more pro-business, pro-America, and pro kind of meritocracy. You get back what you contribute to the economy. So that's, I guess, why. But I do see a lot of things that I think are reprehensible.
Is it pro meritocracy to advocate to undermine the election results of 2020 when you actually lost? Is that pro meritocracy?
Well, I don't know that it's going to be productive if you try to take like isolated incidents, like whatever that is, and pigeonhole it into an entire regime's policymaking that's made up of many cabinet members and many laws, many bills, etc. So
Then
if
tell
you're
me the
going to just
specifics that get
kind
you
of
to
pick out
overlook that.
examples and
So
hold up those examples and say,
hold
oh,
up.
is that pro meritocracy? I don't think that you can take. I don't think the exception defines the rule. I don't believe in broad generalizations. I
Well,
don't
then
believe
give
in
me
guilt by
examples.
association.
Hold up. Give me
Yeah,
examples specifically of him engaging in meritocracy or advocating for meritocracy, because I just gave you an example
sure,
of him being anti-meritocratic.
sure. Yeah, so I believe that if you create jobs, he's promoted the qualified business income. I believe that's what it is. QBI. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
QBI.
there's a few things here.
Well,
A
what's
few things. You
QBI?
said you said that he's you said
What's
that he's
QBI? Do
you
you
said
know
qualified
QBI?
business income. So can I
Yeah, do you know
please?
what it is?
Yeah. Can I please make a response real quick?
Sure, yeah, but what is it? Do you know it?
Can I give a response real quick before you ask like a
Go ahead.
million questions?
Yeah, I asked one question, not a million.
No,
One.
you asked a few there. You asked me if I know what it was, and then you asked me again if I know what it is, and then you asked me again if I know what it is.
Okay,
Isn't that the same
sure.
question
Go.
over and over again? Do you
Yeah.
want me to give you a response, or do you want to keep just saying the same thing? Okay. So you said that he created jobs, right? Can you give me any good reason to believe that he created jobs?
No,
Because under his
I
economy so
created
far,
jobs.
we've seen.
Yeah,
Stop interrupting, please. Under his
yeah,
economy
sure.
so far, we've seen unemployment increase. We've seen the jobs reports actually become so bad that he fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, claiming that it was politically biased information. And then he put someone else into the office of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they indicated even less
Mhm.
jobs for the next month after. Right. So what I've seen is that he's actually had a trend down in jobs under his administration. So how could you say that he's created jobs so far?
I mean, I think the economy is doing pretty well, man. I mean, I don't know. You look at, businesses are making more than they've ever made. Wages seem to be going up overall. I don't know. You'd probably know the statistics better than I. Are wages decreasing?
Wages have gone up at a lower rate than what they would have if it was the case that Trump never imposed the tariff. Secondly, you said the
How
economy
would
was
you know?
doing
How do
pretty
you know
well. We've
that?
seen. Let me
Do you
please
have a?
finish.
Excuse me. Do you
I
have a
just let you
crystal ball?
finish. I just let you
Parker,
finish.
I'll speak for a second. Do you have a crystal ball? How can you say something would have been true that never happened?
Oh, sorry. We know what the impact is of tariffs, and we can see the impact on tariffs, particularly in the context of the market. And I was giving explicit examples, but you decided to cut me off.
Yeah.
So would you like me to
Okay.
continue?
I guess.
Okay, so we've seen unemployment increase since Trump got in office. Again, we saw the jobs report decline, right? Since Trump got in office, we know the impact of tariffs because we've seen real manufacturing investment in the country domestically decline since Trump got in office as well. All of these specifically are because of the implementation of tariffs, and I'll explain why. Tariffs specifically have imposed greater costs and bring products and materials relying on that domestic manufacturers rely on to produce goods in the United States into the country, causing the cost of production to become more expensive, therefore disincentivizing manufacturing investment in the context of the United States, while all simultaneously putting upward pressure on prices for consumer products, disproportionately raising prices for low and middle income individuals that spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods.
Okay. I guess, is there a question there? Or we were talking about meritocracy and you've segued into this. You've segued into tariffs.
You said that he created jobs. I gave you an example of him actually
I didn't.
reducing the amount of jobs
I
in our
never said.
economy
I
because he
never said that Donald
disincentivized
Trump.
manufacturing investment in the country.
Okay. So I believe that the. I personally believe that businesses are what create jobs. It's not Donald Trump who
This
creates
also
jobs.
harms
Would
businesses.
you agree?
This also harms businesses. And no,
Yeah,
demand
well,
actually is what
it
creates
harms some
jobs, and
businesses.
then
Would
businesses
you
will
agree?
fulfill
Because
the.
you've talked for about
No,
80% of the time.
okay,
So
you asked me a question.
would you agree that some of the policies that Donald Trump and his regime have put into place have brought jobs to America and investment into America?
So some things specifically could bring jobs, but it net loses jobs, right? So do you understand that it is the case? Like, for example, right, if you invest in, like, say, a tax credit for a specific company, that could bring that company to the United States, but that doesn't mean that overall the policy net has brought jobs to this country. Net, we've seen a loss in jobs because of the implementation of tariffs and because of the implementation of policies that specifically the Trump administration put in place, that if Harris administration were in office, they would not have put in place, and we would have had more jobs otherwise. That's the point that I'm making.
Yeah. Well, I believe that the infrastructure of America is extremely important in the kind of digital age that we're in. Would you agree with that? Do you agree that America needs to have a competitive advantage when it comes to some of the technology relating to, in particular, artificial intelligence?
I don't think infrastructure is just AI, and I do think that there's the
I
AI
didn't say
policy.
what.
I don't think that the AI policy is going to be better on behalf of the Republicans compared to the Democrats. And if you want to look at infrastructure as a whole, can you name one policy outside of the context of AI relating to infrastructure that the Republicans invested in? Where's the guy?
I'm looking at what businesses are investing in, and not. Honestly, I don't know why this becomes such a Democrat Republican thing for you. What are Republicans investing in?
Why
It's
is
not what
politics a
Republicans are
Democrat and
investing in.
Republican thing? I'm
It's what.
sorry. Do you know
Excuse
what
me.
reality, how
It's what.
reality operates?
How many trillions of dollars of investment was committed to the United States economy for building out our infrastructure for AI, data centers, and the jobs that those will create?
You tell me
Do you know?
how
Do you
much
know?
under the. I don't know how much.
Which you don't know? It's got to be at least like $1.5 trillion.
Can you give me a source?
So, well, it's Nvidia, it's Oracle, it's
Wait.
Apple.
No, I'm saying stuff that was
It's
caused not privately but publicly. Because if we're talking about public involvement,
Yeah. So
right, it
again,
is.
I
Wait, hold
think
up. Let me
yeah,
clarify. If we're talking about
yeah.
public involvement, right, then you are going to
yeah.
clarify what the public did, not the private. The private would have happened regardless, right?
No, it wouldn't have
Okay, well, then what did they do to
because of the
incentivize the
tariffs.
private
Because of the
increase?
tariffs. Because there are economic
Tariffs would not cause
incentives.
AI to increase to that degree. That's ridiculous.
Would you agree that tariffs and import taxes would disincentivize companies to produce products outside of America?
But it also disincentivizes them to produce products in the United States because materials are more expensive in the United States. Because everything that
why
you
have they
specifically are
moved?
getting as an
Why?
aspect of your production process
Okay.
is coming from countries around the world. We do not produce everything in the United States. Therefore, every single thing that you're going to
I
be
agree.
bringing to
We
the
don't
country
produce
as an
everything in the
aspect of your
United States.
production process is now more expensive because of the implementation of tariffs. So what you've done is you've destroyed absolutely like almost every supply chain in the United States, right? Because it is the case that you decided to impose extraordinarily high tariffs on countries all around the world, including our allies.
I decided that. I
Well, yeah,
decided on
I'm talking
tariffs.
about
I
what you agree
decided
with.
on it. Parker, like I said, I don't debate for a living and I don't study current events for a living. I'm in business and I believe that businesses create jobs.
Can I
You
tell you why that's
cannot
not true?
deny. Excuse me.
Can I tell you why that's
Okay,
not true?
sure, please.
For sure. Yeah. The reason why businesses do not create jobs is because they fulfill whatever is going to be profitable within the market. What creates jobs is the demand within the economy, right, for a particular service, right? And then businesses will fulfill that service because it's profitable to do so. So the businesses will always, there's always a
Exactly.
replaceable aspect for
Exactly.
businesses.
That's
But
right.
from
I
the
agree.
consumer basis, right, it is the case that that's what incentivizes the
Exactly.
main aspect of jobs.
That's right. That's right. Businesses have to be profitable. There need to be financial incentives. And that is exactly why companies like Nvidia, companies like Apple have moved, and many car manufacturers have moved manufacturing into the United States because they would be less profitable operating outside of the United States. And again, I guess we can just agree to disagree, but I'm pro business. I think, you're running a business right now, right? You're drawing profit from this podcast right now. You're separating your viewers from their cash voluntarily, right? And that's a good thing, right? Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be doing this. You'd probably be working at McDonald's or doing something else.
I did this
Whatever. I don't know
before I
what your
made any
skill set
money on
is.
this. But would I
What's
be able to
that?
do this to the same degree? Obviously not, because I have to do things to survive, right? But I did this before I made any money on this. I've been doing
And I
this since
appreciate that. And
2020.
I also was in business before I was making any money and that's again what it goes back to, meritocracy, right? Wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree that
if
your
you think
hard
me
work
being in business
and
was
your
me making random
Parker,
political
Parker,
videos with
you keep
music
telling
in the
me,
background on TikTok, then you need to get a grip. And talking to people
you
on the
keep,
internet, come on.
you keep telling me, man, to stop interrupting.
Well,
But
what you
we
said
go
was
back to the
ridiculous.
point.
You thought I only went into this specifically just because I wanted to make money or something like that. No, you have to look at this
No,
because
no,
it
no,
is the
no,
case
no.
that I also have other types of incentives, particularly for engaging in this,
Parker,
like outside of that,
Parker,
or that are based upon things that I care about.
you just said that businesses are operating to fulfill demand in order to make a profit. That is the most capitalistic, business-oriented statement that anyone could say, and it's the truth.
Yeah,
And
I'm saying
so,
I can make a
yeah.
typical statement, but that doesn't mean every business is operating that because it is the case that in typical corporations act that way within our society, and that's an explanation for why corporations act a certain way. Does not mean that when I operate a business, I run it the same way.
Well, I understand, and that's the beauty of free will in America is that as long as you're operating within the boundaries of the law and ethics, generally speaking. And again, I think I'd agree with you that Donald Trump has exhibited behaviors that do not do that, and many other business executives have as well. But many of them have been prosecuted, many of them have been thrown in prison, and so. But I believe in meritocracy. I believe that and that's why I would. You initially had asked me at the beginning of this conversation, would I vote for Kamala Harris or would I vote for Donald Trump? And again, I'd like to reiterate that I think that generally speaking, the message and the policies that are put into place are more pro-business, more pro-America, and more pro-meritocracy. And by the way, I was just listening to Dean, who's talking about. I think taxes just went up. I don't know. I don't know if you want to. You probably know more than me, but I just saw, even though the government shut down, that the IRS released the new tax brackets. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen the new tax brackets. I'd have to take a
Yeah,
look at
and
that.
taxes
If
went
it is the
up,
case that there's,
and yeah.
yeah, if it is the case that that would be, I'd have to take a look at that real quick. If there's
Yeah,
some
they
new
went up,
numbers that I haven't seen yet.
and I don't believe that the government manages money well. Would we agree on that? Like, would you agree that the government does not manage
Can
money
I address
well?
any of your prior claims before you make a bunch of new claims? Because I'm
Yeah, yeah, man.
inevitably going to be chasing like a million
Absolutely.
claims.
100%, man.
That's fine. Yeah. So again, in terms of pro-business, let's go back to that, right? Could you name specific policies that you think are pro-business, right? Because I think that reducing the size of the GDP
Sure.
is not pro-business. I think that increasing the unemployment rate is not pro-business. I think that the jobs report being even lower than what it is not pro-business. I think that you could say, not having a broad and defined consumer markets
Yeah.
pro-business, having tariffs implemented to the degree that they are not pro-business.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I know many. I met with one of my logistics representatives who deals with a lot of businesses that were like totally screwed by the tariffs, and like that totally sucks, man. That sucks. If you were getting product from India, or I don't know what the tariffs are from each country, but if you were getting supplies or part of your supply chain were coming from some of these countries, you would obviously need to pivot in order to survive. And some companies won't survive. But again, I think that the net impact in terms of large businesses, I think that they are pro-American policy, and I think that they are pro-job creation. It does nothing for the American job economy. While it may create lower consumer costs overall, it does nothing for our labor economy to have somebody spinning up pharmaceuticals in India, right? Or building cars somewhere and shipping them across the sea. I think that it's
What kind
really
of car do you
important.
drive?
I drive a Mercedes.
Yeah. Where are Mercedes made?
I don't know. I don't care. Why does that
Germany.
matter?
So you literally got
Yeah.
your car from a different country, and yet you're trying to say everyone else should not be getting their cars from other countries?
Well, no, I wasn't saying that at all. I was saying that broadly, car manufacturing coming to the United States is positive for our economy. I wasn't saying that I'm not going to buy a car for that particular reason.
So you don't want them. So okay, so you want them all manufactured in the United States? Okay, sure. There could be
No,
some.
no, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say I want them all manufactured in the United States. In fact, I'm generally against artificial, artificial manipulation of free markets.
Okay, tariffs. You mean?
I'm generally
So
against that.
so think about it this way: Trump is just replacing income tax with tariffs. Income tax is progressive. Tariffs are regressive because they spend people who are lower income spend a greater proportion of their
Well,
income on
what's the
consumer
inflation
goods.
rate, Parker? Has inflation gone up? Is the
Yes.
Fed cutting rates?
The Fed is cutting rates, risking even
Okay.
higher inflation because it is the case that the jobs report was so bad. So that's actually an issue because it could lead to
What's the
stagflation.
unemployment rate?
It's 4.3%.
And that's healthy, isn't it?
It's trending up. No, it's not.
that-
It's not healthy
it's
for it
not
to be trending up
4.3 is not
continually.
healthy.
No,
4.3% is not healthy.
no, not when it's trending up.
Okay.
That's not what
Well,
you're
I don't know
understanding.
what rate
Is it
trending
healthy
up.
for the unemployment to
to
be
see.
trending up? Weren't Trump supporters touting a record low unemployment, right? 50-year unemployment rate?
I mean, I don't know. Again, the first thing I asked you is what it means to support somebody, but is a healthy unemployment rate, and I believe that it's under 6%. I don't know. Maybe the audience could.
So you think 6% is a healthy unemployment rate?
Well, no, I mean, it's an economic maxim. I mean, there's like healthy unemployment. There's unhealthy employment rates.
That's
that
a
are too low.
subjective notion, right? So if the
Well, there's
economy has been
transitory
trending
unemployment, and so-
around like lower than this, and it would be lower than this otherwise, we would not want 4.3%
I don't know,
unemployment.
man.
We would
You know what
want
I think?
lower than that.
Can I share with you what I think, Parker? I think that generally the American economy is doing very well right now, and I think that people
what
who apply
metric?
themselves and work hard. I don't know.
No, tell me one metric
around.
that the economy is doing well right now.
The unemployment rate's low, wages are rising,
Unemployment rates
inflation is
increase, wages
healthy.
have gone up at a lower rate than what they were prior.
Okay, well, look, man, unemployment's healthy. If you think 4.3% is not healthy, then we
You
disagree.
think trending
but-
up unemployment is good? You think such horrible jobs reports that the president thinks that it's false information is a good idea? You think that's
Does your
great?
viewership? I don't know, man. I guess I don't think in binaries like that. Like, oh, trending up means bad, trending down means good. What do you mean by what
I'm
percent?
sorry. I'm sorry.
Why
I'm
don't
sorry.
you get into
Yeah,
the
I already
detail?
told you. Yeah, 4 to 4.3% continually trending up, right, is obviously not good for the economy. When we talk about points trending up, that's not good, right? When we've seen historically these points trend down under prior administrations, the only reasons they would have trended up is because of the fact that there was higher interest rates, and then actually that's mainly because of the fact that there'd be an upward pressure on prices, which is being extended by Donald Trump. So actually, the reason why specifically there is bad conditions in the labor market is because we don't have the ability to bring down interest rates as much as what we should have been able to if it was the case that we didn't have upward pressure on prices due to tariffs.
I don't know, man. What do you think the unemployment rate would be if Kamala Harris was in office?
I think it would
How
be
do you
lower.
how do you think the actual like business landscape would be different? Do you think that the
it'd be
largest
better.
companies and the biggest job providers would be, committing trillions of dollars of capital into the United States instead of into other countries?
I think that there would be a greater incentive to invest in America, right, under a Kamala Harris administration.
Really? You really
Yes.
believe that? What
Yeah, I
makes
truly
you
do.
believe that? Really?
The reason why I believe that is because we wouldn't have boycotts on American products across the entire world amongst our specific allies, right? We wouldn't have such declining confidence in our world leaders around the entire world, in which decreases the likelihood of us having trade deals, engaging with the international world, right? Engaging in the Paris Climate Accords, right? Engaging in different types of climate affairs specifically that would address things on a global stage that would involve in trade programs, right? And trade deals, right? So obviously we would have a greater ability to actually address the entire world and to engage with the rest of the world if we didn't have Donald Trump in
Yeah.
the position of power.
I guess so, man. I guess your focus is on the entire world and my focus is on America and the homeland.
Yeah,
It
so
sounds like.
you say that, but can you name a single specific policy that would be beneficial to America as a whole? All you brought up specifically was pro-business. You understand Donald Trump's economic policy? His big, beautiful bill adds $3.4 trillion to the debt. It cuts 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month, right? 2.5 million people on average every single month off of their food stamps, over 10 million people off their health insurance. You think that's better for the economy? You think that's better for our system? You think people in the working class and general America are better off because of that?
So I guess your question, do I think that the American lower class is better off, when welfare systems are cut?
Yeah, do you think starving children are better off starving rather than
Well,
having
of
food in their
course.
stomach?
Of course, I don't think that. No.
Well, so I think that overwhelmingly those children are significantly worse off, right? Because
Where
you
are
wanted
they,
to do
man?
a little
Where
bit
are
of a
they? I don't
benefit to the
see- I
richest
don't see
and
that.
wealthiest Americans.
I don't see that. I guess where are you seeing that? I don't see that.
The
What I see
Congressional
is
Budget
political
Office.
violence. That's what I see, Parker. I see political division, and I think
Because
that's
of
the
Trump?
primary driver of unrest.
Because of Trump?
I think. Well, I mean, it takes two to tango.
Trump pardoned violent rioters who officers on January 6th, and he called them patriots, right? We can also point to the fact that domestic is significantly higher on the right comparative to the left, right? If you want to look at like overall violence in this country, right? And we can keep going. All of these points you just made are worse off on your side.
Do you think that it happens on both sides?
Yes, but it happens at a significantly higher rate on behalf of the right.